welcome to another episode of the C-Suite Edge. I'm your host and founder and CEO of Sabretooth Recruiting, John Light. Today, I have with me from the great and glorious southern state of Alabama, Lisa Smith, who is a franchise owner of what I think is a really wicked cool concept. It's, Lisa, why I really wanted to have you on, called TradeBank.com. Lisa, thanks so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Well, let's start, if you will, with a little bit about your story and what kind of took you down the road to join Trade Bank. And then we're probably going to go further into that because I think it's just a fascinating concept that if I was, and I am, but suppose I can't say that if I was because I am, I'm not past tense. I am a small business owner. But if you're a small or medium business, especially something that, you as a CEO are close to the action, so to speak, I think this episode is going to be fascinating. So let's just get started with what brought you to where you are today.
Well, I was a nurse here for 26 years and decided to go into business for myself. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and I found this gorgeous building in the heart of Madison, Alabama, and started a co-working center. I'm sure everybody knows what that is. And you and I both know that the first 3 to 5 years, you're operating in the red. You are just trying to stretch every dollar and get to black as fast as you can. And in walks Trade Bank into my life. And it was a no-brainer for me. It was a way to connect with other small to medium business owners. It was a way to stretch my dollars, a way to gain more customers.
Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit, because I think the first question I'm going to have out of the gate is when you look at Trade Bank and what you do with it, what's the biggest problem that you and Trade Bank work to solve?
More customers and stretch those dollars, save your cash.
How do you go about saving cash? I mean, we are in a society that, and I'll be frank with you, it's driving me nuts. Every time you go to a restaurant, it's like, oh, it's a 3% charge. You go to the barber, it's a 3% charge to use a card. On the flip side, if you pull $1,000 out of the bank, the government knows about it. I mean, so
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about, I guess you could say, the guts of how TradeBank.com works, because it's not just something for local business owners. It's got a pretty broad footprint.
It's not. It does. Nationally and internationally through an international trade organization we call IRTA. Mm-hmm. So I was a business owner looking for ways to, like I said, stretch my cash, and in walks Trade Bank. I was a member since February of 2019. And it allowed me to add another stream of income to my already standing business. So think about it. You have streams of income into your business. You just named them: cash, checks, credit cards, all of which carry a fee with them. But if you're already open and your cost of goods is not changing, you're paying the taxes, you're paying the utility bills, you're paying the employees, if you could bring in another stream of income into that business, how much better off would you be?
Well, it depends on the stream of income, right?
Yeah, that's what trade does. I can utilize the exact same business model and allow someone to come in and pay me in trade, then therefore take those trade dollars that they have rented my conference room or rented my training room with, and I can pay for my cleaning services, my parking lot to be resurfaced, my roof to be redone. I can pay for pressure washing or food that I bring inside the building. I pay for our Christmas party every year, 100% trade.
No kidding.
I mean, I'm not kidding. Right down to Santa Claus and the Grinch.
Everybody needs a Grinch to show up to the office Christmas party.
They do, and you need a photographer and a videographer to cover that so that you have great social media reels and pictures for that. So that's also something that I wasn't.
All of which you bartered and trade. All of which you bartered and traded for. So the phrase that comes to my mind is a managed barter system, because that's really what we're talking about, right? Is that
Yes, we are.
somebody's got business services they can offer to someone else. They earn some sort of credit doing it. They can then apply that credit for other services or products, or they can provide their services to other people and gain more credit and keep applying and reapplying. And if I remember correct, you've got a couple of examples. I know you named some in general, but maybe you could chat a little bit about how you lever this in a way to free up. Let me put it in a way that it resonates with me. You're freeing up existing cash flow dollars via using the managed barter system. So throw out, I know you've touched on a couple, but maybe get a little more detailed on a couple of real life examples that you deal with every day or every year, really.
I will give you my initial one because it's honestly one of my favorite stories. When the gentleman that had the franchise at the time came in, and he wanted a virtual office, which is something that I offer, an address only and a place to work from, but he didn't live here. He paid me X amount in trade dollars every month to have that virtual office. Well, the first thing I did when my contract was up for my current pest control service, which I was paying cash for, I called the pest control company within Trade Bank and said, you know what, I want to switch my service over. And I realized how much money I was saving each month, and then take that, multiply it by 12. That's how much I'm going to save in a year. I want more of that. I want to be able to do more of that because I am now saving money and keeping my cash in the bank. Fast forward about 11 months, and this particular franchise became available, and I purchased it and have not looked back since 2020. Remember what 2020 was?
Oh, yeah. That's when the lockdowns hit.
2020 was the year of COVID. It allowed me to get to know another, at that point, 100 plus business owners that I wasn't familiar with, which grew my network during a really tough year rather than shrinking it. So I've used that model every year since. I've grown my network. I've sponsored events, networking events. I've sponsored things here in the office for business owners to get together. It's just a win-win. You save money, you make barter, which you can use in place of your cash, and you grow your network.
Man, see, I think it's fascinating because, I've spent a large part of my career around heavy industry. And it just popped in my head. I remember back in the 80s, this is how far back I go. I wasn't working per se then. My dad had me stripping electrical cables in his shop before the oil field glut hit, and the whole market just collapsed. And I remember welders getting scrap metal that the company was going to get rid of, old iron, and they were making these amazing barbecue pits. And we had one. That rascal felt like it weighed a half a ton. It was solid. It was never going to rust through. I mean, it was a tank. But I just remember they were switching stuff off. Hey, I'll make this for you if you'll do this other thing for me that I need done. And sometimes it was work on a vehicle. Sometimes it was something else that needed to be fabricated or repaired. And I've always been fascinated with it because, you fast forward to where we are today, and cash is the only legal tender that you have to accept in this country for resolving a debt, for example. But crypto is not cash. In fact, I think it's legally classed as a barter system or barter goods, or however you want to phrase it. And so when I see this, and you're actually, instead of putting stuff in an account somewhere per se, you're ponying up a service or a product to earn credit, if you will, in a pro forma sense, that you can then get goods or services from other people, other business owners. Maybe it's a piece of equipment. You need a tractor that's in Kansas, and the tradebank.com website and system helps you get there. Or maybe it's, a Viking River cruise in Europe, which, hey, sign me up for one of those. That sounds like really fun.
It could be a really expensive piece of jewelry. It could be an automobile. I've had members that have bought and sold cars via trade. So
no kidding.
Can be literally, promise, it literally can be anything that you're looking for. The beautiful thing about Trade Bank is it levels that playing field. You and I you might never need an office from me, but I might need your coaching services, or I might need you to teach me how to do a podcast. There are things that I could pay you for in trade, and still conserve my cash. But
Yeah, and that's really
you
what
don't
it comes
have
down to,
You
right?
don't have to barter directly. Yes. The
I
plumber
remember-
will never need an office from me, but guess what? I have 8 bathrooms in this building. I will need the plumber.
We all need the plumber
just a
once in a
given.
while, I'm sure.
And who doesn't want to go to a restaurant? I mean, restaurants, but think of all the things in trade a restaurant can use. I just met with one of my restaurant owners right before this podcast. Deep cleaning, pressure washing, window washing, those can all be purchased on trade for her now in both restaurants, and allows her to free up that capital. So guess what she's doing this Thursday, the day before the 4th of July? She's taken all of her team out for a pool party and paying for all the fun and festivities and food on trade.
No, that's cool,
So
I think,
extending
because
the excellence of her employment.
yeah, I mean, having the camaraderie and the togetherness, and look, when you're a smaller medium business, cash is king. I mean, it rules your life.
Cash is tight. Yes, it's tight.
Yeah, there's a couple of times every month where I am glued to the bank account and the receivables and what's been paid and not paid. People start hearing from me, hey, look, this is 30 days past due. We know what's going on. We're going to push 45, and not to put pressure on them, but yes, to put pressure on them, right? Because cash is so important. So if you can find a way or bring a way to the
It's 30
table,
months.
yeah.
Yes.
But if you can find a way, bring a way to the table that stretches that further for the SMB owner, the solopreneur, for example, it can make a whole lot of sense. And speaking of footprint, because I mentioned earlier, it's not just local. You're not just stuck in one state or one region or one county. The footprint for a trade bank, you can go coast to coast in Canada, Mexico, Europe, wherever it might be. I'm really curious to know if you've come across a scenario or a situation where, actually, let me rephrase it. In dealing with these transactions that are clearly at a geographic distance, does a platform digest and process and manage this in a way that's easy for somebody who maybe has never done business overseas to
Absolutely.
activate that?
For Trade Bank, that's one of the beautiful things. We have people within our organizations that are client advisors. We call them brokers. And they assist you. If you called me and you had $5,000 in your trade account and you said, what I really want to do is go to Niagara Falls in Canada. We have a Canadian trade bank, so I would make those arrangements for you and take care of all those transactions, and you would just go enjoy your trip. The same thing can be true about a vacation to Mexico or out of the state. You may say, I'm really going to Kansas. I think I'm going to Kansas City this summer, so I need you to find me a hotel and give me a list of restaurants. I would tell you, one of the great things about Trade Bank is our proprietary software. We have our own mobile app, so it follows you. If I go to Tennessee or to Florida or wherever I go, it follows me to that state or that city and tells me what I've got near me. When I went to Panama City Beach in Florida, it followed me and showed me restaurants that were there. And the currency, because it is a multi-platform, like you said, it doesn't matter where I earn it, I can spend it anywhere.
Nice.
It is.
So you're a franchisee. So obviously there's a larger company behind the curtain, so to speak. What's next for you and Trade Bank, Lisa? I mean, are you
I have been the
kind of holding your cards
for
here?
the last 5 years.
But are you kind of holding the cards here, or you're like, hey, I want to blow this up a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. The last two restaurant members that I put in literally sat across the table from me and said, why isn't everybody doing this? This is like found money. So, of course, I want to share it with as many people as possible. I want to help as many people as possible get connected to this additional stream of income here in North Alabama that I can. And I always direct people, whether they're in Nashville or Charlotte or Panama City Beach or Wichita, Kansas, I would direct them to the person that's in that area and tell them, hey, this is the person you should talk to, and at least get the information. See if it's a great fit for you. I already know it is, but, make your decision.
Have you ever run in, and just total curiosity here, have you run into any jurisdictional issues, any states that don't like this sort of thing going on?
No, No,
Good.
the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, looks at a trade dollar or a barter dollar identical to a cash dollar. So there's really not any legal or those type of issues to go with it. And state to state, now there are some states that we're not as active in because we have partners that are very active in those states through the IRTA organization, and those states we're not probably going to build as fast in. We look for the places that don't have it and then go try to help those areas out.
Right. Right. Well, I got to tell you, Elise, I think it's fascinating, and I think it's a great opportunity for a business owner to investigate and look into. So if someone wants to know more, what's the best way for them to find you, get in touch, and kind of get educated, if you will?
Well, for me in Huntsville market, it would be huntsville.tradebank.com or just tradebank.com for the company as a whole, and they could find out everything they want to know.
Super. Lisa, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I love this.